Hello, folks. I am back. And in about October of last year, I put in my paperwork for a suppressor. And now it is March, and I finally got my tax stamp back. And now I can show you my Dead Air Ghost 45M suppressor. And that's this right here. Let me go over with some quick specs real quick. It's going to handle multiple calibers. One's going to be 22 long rifle, 380 ACP, 9 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 45 ACP, and 300 blackout. Mind you, 300 blackout only suppressed, no supersonic rounds that will go through this suppressor. So if you get this intended for 300 blackout, you can only shoot suppressed ammunition. Let me just give you some stats. It's going to be 8.75 inches in its full configuration, which is the L configuration, or what they call full length configuration. In the short configuration, it's going to be 6.2 inches. They call this the K configuration. That would be from here to here. I will show you that configuration in a moment. The weight of its full length is going to be 12 ounces in weight. The short length, like I mentioned before, is going to be at 9.6 ounces, which I said before considered the K configuration. The diameter is going to be 1.375 inches around here in the diameter. The main tube, which is from here to here, is going to be of titanium, and there is going to be uh, steel in this area right over here. The main baffles, which are inside, which I'll show you in a minute, are steel, but the other baffles are going to be anodized steel. And I'm going to break this down a little bit, and I'm breaking it down only for informational purposes only. This is not an installation video. So I'm going to break this down right here. And I'm going to be pausing my camera off and on to save time. So you'll see that here, and here are your baffles right here. I'm going to try to get that back in the frame. Now you have several baffles here. I believe that there are about 5 baffles, and you can use these baffles in an ultrasonic cleaner. So if you need to clean those, you can put those in the ultrasonic cleaner and do whatever lubrication that you may have to. One thing about a Dead Air, what they do is they supply you with their own little tool, which has their logo. You would fit that tool right here, and you would be able to screw off the muzzle end here to gain access. Now, I'm going to get back to the muzzle end momentarily because there's something important I got to mention to you. All right, now I've been shooting this already. I've been shooting uh, roughly about 200 rounds, and this is one of the baffles, which is the same material as the steel that's in this tube right here. But inside here, if I don't know if you can see it, right here, there are uh, three baffles inside, and the 3 baffles are blue in color. You cannot put those 3 baffles in a sonic cleaner. They recommend you to do this by hand. Now, unfortunately, I'm unable to get these baffles out because they seem to be a little bit stuck in there. And that's because, like I said, I put in about 200 rounds in, and I'm going to have to do that at a later time to get those out because right now, I guess it's all the carbon buildup that's making these stuck right now. But that's not too much of an issue. I can do that at my leisure. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention to you, this end cap right here for the front, it serves a different type of purpose here. Right here, you'll see what they call a wipe. A wipe is something that is an old technology of suppressors back in the 30s, 40s, and possibly in the 50s. What they used to do this instead of baffles, they would use these along the tube. Now, this is a rubberized priatine, I believe, type of material. that they use. And what it does is when you have uh, the suppressor together, what it does is it creates back pressure to make it even more quieter. Um, Now, what would happen is you would have this inside, and then you would just put this back together. You would have to make sure you put your other baffle in first, and you would just screw that in properly. And this is what they call the K configuration, which makes it shorter, as you see at this point. So the shorter end is good for pistols or whatnot, because in the long configuration, it's going to be a little bit heavy. Now, if you look in the front here, these are called, like I said, that rubberized or piece is called a wipe. What happens is when the projectile comes in, like I said, with the back pressure will help make it quieter, and then that's what that's for, is just to have the pressure for it to be enabled to be quiet. Now, the problem with this is the dead air only gives you one. In some other models, they gave you two. What will happen is, since I'm shooting 45 ACP, it's a bigger diameter, and that will get chewed up as you're shooting. Within about maybe 50 rounds, it's going to get chewed up pretty bad. They recommend you change these roughly about, let's say, 100 rounds at least. Now, the problem with this is now the uh, BATF has determined that these are suppressor parts. So, therefore, this little rubber piece here, you are not allowed to buy these from Dead Air anymore. If you want to buy these from Dead Air, you have to ship the entire suppressor, which makes no sense to me when this is probably a really small, probably no more than 50-cent part, I guess. And that's why I did not use this white, because it would just basically be destroyed with the 200 rounds I shot today. So you can shoot the suppressor without having that wipe in there, and that's what I did. It does very well on sound reduction and so forth. The other portion I want to show you on this will be where your pistons are. This gives you the ability to put a couple of different pistons in. Right now, I only have two pistons, which is the half by 28, and I believe this is called the 0.5 578. I'm sorry, I don't have that in my notes. I forgot to write that down, but it is a standard for 45 ACP. What you would do is, as you see, I'm unscrewing right here. That's how you have access in the internals right here. And this is where this whole section here harnesses your baffle and excuse me, not your baffle, your piston. So I'm going to take this apart, your piston and your piston spring. And I'm going to get this out real quick, hopefully, if I don't mess this up. And as you see here, and it is filthy. This is the piston spring. Believe it or not, this was silver when I first put this in, brand new. So you could tell I shot this. It's really filthy at this time. I will have to clean this as well. So your piston, if I can get this to move out, your piston is right here. This is your spring, and if you could see a little glint, that was probably where it was brand new, but yep, that's what it is. So you just would put this in like this, and what you would do is, where's that other part? You place the part right in, but make sure when you're putting this part in, these little rivets here, or like cog pieces here, make sure they pretty much match in, make sure they fit right, and you'll feel like a little click. Now, if you look inside, I'm gonna pull it back a little. See these little spaces right here? You just push that in, like this. Make sure they stay in properly. And all you would have to do is put your piece right here. And hopefully I can do this right on camera. I was debating on doing this because I usually mess up stuff on camera. And you just make sure that this goes in properly. And you have it secured. And all you would have to do is secure it to your parts right here, and you're pretty much good to go. And you would just screw this in as regular. And as you see, it is in its K configuration. Now, I had a chance to fire this, like I said, a great deal, 200 rounds. I did not shoot this in 9mm as of yet. I have one that I believe it's my Beretta 92 M3. It works with a 1/2 x 28 piston, so I would have to put that piston in here. But on my SIG P226 TAC Ops, it takes a different piston, so I have to pick up that piston for it to work properly. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a look. I'm going to pause the camera because YouTube doesn't not want me to show you me putting this on, so stand by. Okay, I'm back, and this is my SIG P227. The P227 is now discontinued, but however, it is in 45 ACP, and that's what it would look like in that configuration with the K configuration. Now, like I said, I didn't shoot this in the K configuration. I got a little crazy and just shot it in a longer configuration. That probably looked like the Joker pulling out a long barreled firearm, but this is what it looks like in that configuration. Okay, I'm back from changing the suppressor on these different firearms, and one of my favorite firearms is the Cmmg Banshee, and this is what it looks like with the large configuration completed all the way down. I'm going to stand up and show you that because it's pretty long. And so imagine this on a pistol. It is weighty, and I tried to do some shooting with it. I will show you the targets in a couple seconds. So here you go. This is from the rear, and here's from the front here. Now you're looking at it from this configuration here, and that's pretty long. But I will tell you this, with using this suppressor, it really exceeded a lot of my expectations. I like this because I can use it with multiple firearms. The only thing I have to do is change the pistons out, and everything would be just fine. I would just change, and like I said, anywhere from 22 up to 300 blackout suppressed. It's really good. Now, CMMG, I first shot this. I believe I shot this actually with the 227, and these were my first shots right here. They do say in the manual that allow 20 rounds for break-in, which is a very short break-in. And as you see, all my shots are toward the left a little bit, and because this firearm does not have suppressor height sights, what I did was lined up the sights and did a guesstimation. So what I did was then I had to raise up. So I'm looking at the curve of the suppressor. So for me to get right about here, the curve of the top of the suppressor was up here. So that's what I did. Those were actually my first shots using the Dead Air Ghost 45M. And now I am working a little bit more on trying to shoot again. Sorry about the camera work, please. Sorry about that. And now I'm kind of getting where I want to be, where I'm kind of, because again, I was shooting a little bit off and then trying to center, And there you go right there. Now I decided to put the Cmmg Banshee in 45, and I use, this is my first groups over here, a very tight group, really good tight group right here. And I was just trying to get that the sight set up like it should, like I want it to be. I usually shoot roughly 15 yards with my Banshee, and my Romeo 5 is set up that way. So this was the group here, and mind you, this was at 5 to 7 yards. Now the next target here, this is at 10 yards. 10 yards. I'm trying to dial it in like I want to. I was hitting a little low, but I had to come up a little bit to get my target in place. And my best shots were 15 yards here, 15 yards, really tight groups with the Banshee, and right here. So I'm really happy with this. I'm very proud of these at distance. So what do I think about the Dead Air Ghost M45M? I think, like I said, a very good modular suppressor. I will be giving you some other tests on when I get my other piston in for my tac ops, and I'm also waiting for another barrel. I'm having a brain freeze here, but I'm just waiting for another barrel, a threaded barrel. That's what I was trying to say, threaded barrel, and that's going to be for a 1911 firearm. So that's what I need to do. So I'm waiting on a couple of those components, and I'm really having fun with this suppressor because it is very versatile. Like I said, as I was shooting, I was flipping back and forth from the Banshee over to the P227. So I'm really having fun with this. Okay, folks, that's all I have. Feel free to contact me, any information that you want to enlighten me on, or if you have any questions. So happy shooting, stay safe, #2X.